TVS Motor Company is amongst the highest spender when it comes to R&D. And what I understand from my friends within the company is that there is never any corner cut when it comes to R&D. If you have a case, there's a blank check given to you.
To their credit, no one has updated a bike as much as they have. It seemed like every year there was an RR310 update, and they took it so much ahead of the equivalent BMW. So again, that's just, you can see their R&D push.
We've seen two islands of excellences in Europe, Germany, in East Japan, and you have the best of their systems, processes being imbibed and curated for the Indian market. And I mean, it's no mean achievement to see that today, whenever we talk of TVS products, quality is never an issue.
They have sunk, I don't know how many millions and millions into their racing program in India. They've taken it to Asia. They've created this beautiful carbon fiber, lightweight, 120 kilo machine that's setting lap records for that kind of a class in Asia and the ARRC championship. I've ridden that bike. It's the best single cylinder experience I've ever had.
It has been working on various projects. They made big inroads into the electric vehicle space. The company has been very vocal about how they want to be an end-to-end mobility solution provider when it comes to zero-emission vehicle. So the most affordable EV from TVS Motor, Rishaad, should hit the roads in the next 3 to 4 months' time.
Welcome to Deep Drive, our weekly podcast brought to you by Kotak Mahindra Prime. This week, we're going to talk about, I think, one of the most exciting two-wheeler manufacturers of the past year. It's a manufacturer that's actually hit the number 2 position for the first time. It's TVS. My name is Rishaad Mody.
Hi, I'm Ketan Thakkar.
And Ketan, why are we talking about TVS?
No, I mean, company has been on a sustained good run. What is phenomenal is that we are seeing success of that company across categories. Probably the only vehicle maker that has proven itself right from a moped to probably one can say a 150 to 200cc premium bike. Yet to see a successful product about that. But you have mopeds, probably the only brand doing close to 500,000 mopeds in the country, serving the last mile, serving the family buyers in the rural India. Then we have Raider, which actually created the sporty executive 125cc category. And then we saw the likes of Bajaj and Hero getting into that category. And now today, Honda rules the roost with the Shine 125. And of course, the Apache brand, carrying forward from that racing legacy, the Apache brand has done really well. And what's exciting is that, it's a strong R&D company. It has been working on various projects. They made big inroads into the electric vehicle space. The company has been very vocal about how they want to be an end-to-end mobility solution provider when it comes to zero-emission vehicle. So the most affordable EV from TVS Motor, Rishaad, should hit the roads in the next 3 to 4 months' time. Jury is still out there whether they're going to call it Jupiter EV or no. But given the fact that we have a Jupiter ICE, we have a Jupiter CNG coming up, so probably it may be called Jupiter EV or an all-new affordable EV coming from TVS. Followed by, or rather preceded by, a high-performance scooter, 150cc and torque, something that will excite us. We've seen that TVS have always raised the bar when it comes to performance and features. So that's something exciting now, really looking forward to see. And then, of course, there's a 300cc motorcycle that we've seen the glimpse of at the recent motor show. So quite a lot coming up, and there's a whole host of bikes under Norton, BMW. We'll talk about it as we go along.
I mean, absolutely, Ketan. If I think about every big manufacturer in the country, each big manufacturer has its really big hitter. Hero, Splendor, Honda, Activa. And then the other products are sort of, very clearly playing second and third fiddle and so on. TVS is just, I think they're like you said, the most diversified. Jupiter is their bestseller.
Absolutely.
Jupiter is, in a country that worships its Activas, for them to have 25% of the market share, or maybe a little more than 25%.
About 26%, you're right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
100% of moped, which is
insane.
I mean, nobody has 100% of anything. Apache does really well. It's a big family. NTORQ is a growing family. iQube is a growing family. Raider is the best-selling motorcycle of its type. So they are doing well in various scenarios, and they have this exciting stuff coming now. Let's talk about how the company ended up being this way. I think there's a bit of history going back to the days that they split from Suzuki, of the decisions they took that led to where they are today.
Absolutely, Rishaad. I think during post the breakup, Venu Srinivasan took a very strong call of investing significant amount of money in R&D and technology. And what we have seen right now, the fruits of some of the products that you mentioned, is because of years of effort being put in perfecting the technology. There's that overt focus on quality, reliability. I mean, if I'm not wrong, the company brought in a lot of Japanese professors to imbibe the technology or the systems and processes that Suzuki had that made their motorcycles amazing in their, fit finish, ride quality and all. And it's the entire culture that was built by Venu Srinivasan, over the last 15 years. And probably TVS Motor Company is amongst the highest spender when it comes to R&D. And what I understand from my friends within the company is that there is never any corner cut when it comes to R&D. If you have a case, there's a blank check given to you. So that speaks a lot about how the culture was imbibed of quality, reliability, and product first, and which is the reason why we've seen such fabulous products coming from the TVS Motor stable, and that too catering to different ends of the market. It's a very hard act in a market wherein you see just 2 out of 10 products succeeding to have product in every category. Now that's no mean achievement, and what we are seeing now, actually, the 15-20 years of hard work by Mr. Venu Srinivasan, his son Sudarshan is taking it to the next level. So, I mean, what we've seen over the last 4 to 5 years is internationalization of TVS as a company. We've seen the chairman of the company, former MD of Jaguar Land Rover, Sir Ralph Spett, as a chairman of TVS Motor. We've seen the CTO, he's from Germany. Recently, the company hired Payman Kargar, who's come from Nissan, and he has great expertise in international sales. So clearly, the company wants to be seen as an international company. And along the way, how can I forget the critical joint venture partnership with BMW to make BMW motorcycles? That actually took TVS Motor brand to the international level. I mean, all BMW smaller displacement bikes were manufactured in India for global operations. So that was a stamp of quality that TVS got.
And it came down to their products as well. I mean, yeah, quality and the performance from there.
Phenomenal. So you can see, we've seen 2 islands of excellences in Europe, Germany, in East Japan, and you have the best of their systems, processes being imbibed and curated for the Indian market. And I mean, it's no mean achievement to see that today, whenever we talk of TVS products, quality is never an issue. And in fact, we are assured of their quality. So I think that was a significant change that was brought about in the last couple of decades. And now with Sudarshan, young blood in, really raring to go, multiple acquisitions since 2017, 2018. We saw the Norton acquisition in 2020. We saw a couple of acquisitions in Switzerland. And the company is raring to go. It wants to lead on the mobility chart, especially on the clean mobility front. So the company has transformed. The amazing vision of Venu Srinivasan, and now we have a master executor in Sudarshan. So I think it's a phenomenal story of how an Indian brand is not only doing well in India, but also doing well in the international markets.
You talk about R&D, and from my entire experience, whenever there's an Indian company about to launch a product, if it's a TVS, you tend to be the most excited. They're all a bunch of serious riders. There are some very senior people in R&D who are well into their 50s who ride like maniacs on the racetrack. And we love sharing the racetrack with them because it's such an experience to ride them. And you can tell that passion comes out in their products. For example, they have sunk, I don't know how many millions and millions into their racing program in India. They've taken it to Asia. They've created this beautiful carbon fiber, lightweight, 120 kilo machine that's setting lap records for that kind of a class in Asia and the ARRC championship. I've ridden that bike. It's the best single cylinder experience I've ever had. It's 12,000 RPM. It is smooth. It was so light, I didn't know what to do with it. It was an amazing experience. So they really are pushing the boundaries, and that learning definitely comes down into the products. They've got their new 300cc platform that they showed off last year. It leaked a little at the Auto Expo. It's going to be coming soon. I am very excited about that. The first bike will be an ADV, but it's a platform. There's going to be more on it.
Absolutely.
There'll be bigger engines probably. There will be more stuff coming. The Ronin has been one of their slower sellers. Want to see what happens in that 200, 220cc space. It's a growing brand, but it's something that TVS is working on, and it's a really nice product. The other thing is that TVS doesn't just make exciting vehicles for enthusiasts. something as simple as the Ntorq or the Raider have been so impressive. We gave the Raider our bike of the year. It was a 125cc motorcycle that beat motorcycles that cost much more, that were much in that year, because it was so impressive. And it's just gone on to set a benchmark, and people are trying to chase that benchmark now.
Right.
There's Hero coming in and Bajaj is trying to. So they do a lot of things right. Some mistakes have happened along the way. The TVS X, I think, was a mistake with how early it came out. It wasn't ready for us, and now sales have slowly begun. So it's not a company that doesn't make any missteps. But I think in the general march forward, they're making big strides. 100,000 plus exports every month.
Yeah.
It was only Bajaj who would export in those numbers.
They're phenomenal.
And now they've caught up there as well.
Now, phenomenal. And clearly the direction from Sudarshan is to go global. And that is what explains some of these acquisitions that we've seen in Europe. And by bringing in Payman Kargar, you actually want to now branch out beyond the Africas and the Latin Americas to Europe and North America. I mean, clearly a lot is riding on how well Norton is going to do. We've been waiting. It's been 5 years since the company acquired Norton. I mean, acquired for just 150 crore, but they've invested already over 1,200 crore. So I'm really waiting eagerly to see the first major mainstream motorcycle that will hit the road somewhere in 26 or 25 probably later in the year. There's what we understand is going to be a top-down strategy. They may bring in some CBU models, but it is going to be followed by a 400 to 450cc motorcycle, single cylinder, followed by a twin cylinder as well. So clearly, while we spoke of the affordable EV, Ntorq 150 and a 300 ADV, there's a whole host of offering with the Norton, and we've also spoken about 450cc from BMW, that they're going to be manufacturing, while company has not revealed as to what their plans are.
They're being very quiet on it.
Yeah, they're very quiet on it. But what we understand, definitely there's going to be a potential TVS model, like we've seen it in the past with the 310. And exciting, isn't it, Rishaad? A twin cylinder, liquid cooled.
Twin cylinder, good sound. It's that thing that Indians want to step up to. Singles are great in terms of value. They're pushing the performance envelope. But you want something more special, and only a twin cylinder or above can actually give you that.
Yeah. So really, really exciting stuff. But the biggest question and the biggest fear I have from TVS Motor's perspective is its inability to build a brand above a 200cc. We haven't really seen much beyond Apache. There was a lot of excitement when the 310RR was launched, and it was probably the next big thing from TVS Motor. But again, like probably product X, they launched it a little too soon. The models were not really available, and it fizzled out rather quickly. Again, in terms of performance, I remember speaking to some of our friends from the review fraternity. They were quite excited about it, but somehow it did not catch the fancy of Indian buyer, pricing it about 3 lakh rupees.
Pricing close to KTM's, which on paper give you so much more. And refinement was a challenge in the early days. And to their credit, no one has updated a bike as much as they have. It seemed like every year there was an RR310 update, and they took it so much ahead of the equivalent BMW. So again, that's just, you can see their R&D push. But that platform had its flaws. Yeah. And it was a shared platform. So there's only so much you can do with it, which is why this new 300 one of their own, them going their own way, is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just hoping that, they get the go-to-market strategy right. There's never a dearth of products in the TVS world. I think the biggest challenge is, where do you position it, and who do you position it for, at who your customer is. Sometimes your strength also becomes your weakness, isn't it, Rishaad? When you are diversified, when you're catering to such diverse customer base, pinpointing that one category of buyer and positioning it in a certain manner at a certain price, I think it's the biggest challenge from a product manager's perspective. Product positioning, I think that has been the biggest challenge. Go-to-market strategy, by nature, TVS is a very conservative company. They should be going a lot more outgoing when it comes to talking about the product prowess, spending more moolah on marketing. But somehow we've not really seen TVS doing that. I mean, of course, over the recent few years with the Ronin and with Vimal Sumli coming in, we've seen products like Motosol coming up, and they're trying their bit, but it's been hard. And again, we've seen, you spoke about X. Where do you position it? Who your buyer is? And why did you launch it if you're not ready? Right? Then again, Ronin. What exactly are you trying to achieve through Ronin? What is it? A street bike? Is it a cruiser? What exactly are you trying to do? So sometimes
they themselves were calling it, it's a Ronin.
It's a Ronin.
Yeah, it's a Ronin. That's what they themselves say. So I get what you're saying completely. It doesn't have a clear identity.
And to me, I think the new retail strategy or a brand revamp has been under works for last 3 to 4 years. We are yet to see the light of the day. One thing that actually pulls the company down is the speed. Probably it's a company in transition. Like you mentioned, you have a lot of these experienced engineers and resources from decades ago who still continue to play an integral role. And there is this young, fresh blood who's raring to go, who's more bold, who's more outgoing, who wants to do things. But then within the company, you do see this tug of war to kind of try and bring in that right formulae to bring out a product. And hence, Ntorq is something that raised the bar when it comes to performance scooters. So I'm quite excited to see that, with that brand, hopefully they'll be able to do
150 has taken a while. Like you're talking about
exactly.
Thing.
It has been in the offing for a while.
We've known about it for a while, but
in fact, we were going to break the story stating that it's coming soon, and it's not yet.
It hasn't come through.
It was somewhere last year, I believe, and I think another quarter, hopefully this time around, the start of production is near. So that'll make its way. But again, you see an affordable scooter, a premium scooter, a premium bike, and Indian market, global market. Petrol engine, electric vehicle, CNG, yes. So I think yes, you cater to the diverse customer base, but I think getting right clarity on the go-to-market strategy, according to me, has been the biggest bugbear.
Right. So let's talk about Norton, because I find that very exciting. They are in a lucky position now where Bajaj has Triumph, Hero has Harley Davidson. Everybody has a good weapon to take on Royal Enfield. Absolutely. Everybody is struggling to take on Royal Enfield. Now they come in with Norton. With Norton's traditionally always been positioned even higher than everybody else. And what Norton ended up being before TVS acquired them was super, super premium. Right. 30, 40, 50,000 euro bikes. Yeah. Very limited volumes. TVS has spent most of their time so far in improving those particular motorcycles are very problematic, getting them to a good level. And then they started focusing on the new products. Now, I understand that the existing bikes will continue to sell the V4 and things like that. But their priority now is going to be premium mid-size.
Absolutely.
So, interesting. We don't have exact specifications, but we've been given to understand about 650cc for the twin cylinder.
Yes.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, 600 to 650.
Yeah, it could vary, which will again be affordable, but also, entry level, but not too affordable. Right. And then they have the single for India. I'm not sure the single is going to go overseas immediately. I think I'm assuming the single is more for an Indian.
So what we understand, Rishaad, at least from the production plan perspective, that they want to do about 150,000 units per annum. That's quite a lot of number. I mean, that's a sizable number. So I believe there will be exports quota there. And when we saw the launch of Harley, we thought, probably they will hit the charts and it's a big brand, and we've seen the volumes. It's below 1,000 units, right? Let's talk about Triumph. I mean, when it hit the road, massive bookings, but the averages come down to 3,500. So it's not an easy space to be in. So, I mean, I do understand that, they want to be realistic, but at the same time, they want to be ambitious, given the fact that, like we said, bought for only 150 crore, but they've put in about 1,200 crore already in the company. And this is the moment of reckoning for Norton. And in our market, if you don't get the product right in the first instance, then there is no coming back.
And they have a challenge of the Norton name not being as well known as Harley Davidson.
Yes.
And even Triumph, I would say, in India.
Right.
Abroad, not a problem.
Yes.
They're going to have to create a new network for it. They're going to have to do so much work in creating that brand for India. But if the product is good, and I have every reason to believe it will be good, and I'm hoping it will be an air-cooled engine, who knows what it's going to be. At this point, we're not sure about it.
Yeah, to ensure that it competes well with Royal Enfield, it should be air-cooled.
In that easy riding sort of category of bikes, it is hopefully going to be a bigger engine, a little more performance, a little more differentiated from Royal Enfield in terms of performance, but there's not much you can do in terms of differentiation otherwise, right, with bikes like this. It'll have its own design philosophy, it'll have good performance, but it can't have anything really out of the box.
Right.
So then you have to specialize in how you sell it, how you make people aware of it, how you make that experience.
No, I think a very pertinent point there, Rishaad. I think one of the biggest challenges that TVS faces as a brand itself is it seen as aspirational? Apache, you know that it stands for its racing pedigree. Ntorq, you know, for its, high performance and connectivity features that you get. But would you call TVS a performance brand? Yes, TVS racing globally, but and that is where the challenge lies, as to how do you take TVS brand to the next level, and it starts on ground. And exactly, you mentioned about a different network for Norton. I think the go-to-market strategy is something that I spoke to you about. Probably the way you deal with customers today, who are buying iPhones with an absolutely state-of-the-art, amazing, new-age experience. I think the network has not really kept pace with the changing needs of the Indian buyer. Now, if you're going to be spending 2.5 lakh rupees for a premium motorcycle, or 1.5 to 2.5 lakh rupees motorcycle, you want to be seen differently. You want to have a different experience. And if you're going to be selling it through similar channels, I mean, I'm not saying that Norton will be sold through similar channels, but I think they need a different identity even for the 300.
I would
because
agree.
that customer is going to pay extra money. So that customer needs to be dealt with differently. There has to be an integration of gadgets.
They need their Nexa, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
TVS actually needs their Nexa. Hero tried to do it with their Premia. So I think the overall consumer buying experience leaves a lot to be desired. It is something that we've been waiting for a two-wheeler manufacturer to come out and exhibit to us, that there is a different way of reaching out to the potential young Indian buyers, but we've not really seen much happening there. So probably this is an opportunity with the slew of models coming in. And like I said, the new customer interface or the brand rehaul has been in the making. Probably they were waiting for right product portfolio to come out with probably more alternatives on Ronin, the 300 coming in, and hopefully in future another 450cc on the BMW platform. Then
Next year.
a few years away. But then you have a portfolio, and then you can justify, or you can request your retail partners to put in extra money for a different kind of experiential setup. So I think that is one area where I feel that beyond Royal Enfield, none of the Indian two-wheeler manufacturers have really been able to up the game when it comes to the consumer experience perspective.
I'd say KTM does that fairly well. You go to a KTM dealership, it feels like, you're in a place with special motorcycles.
Yeah.
I would assume Triumph is a similar thing as well. But everybody else, you're in this mixed situation where you've got all sorts of bikes, and TVS needs to have that differentiation. In terms of perception, yes, they're considered a sporty brand by far, for sure, but sporty within the mass segment.
Absolutely.
So they need to be able to elevate that premium positioning.
How do you raise the bar?
Yeah. That's the challenge in front of them.
So, Rishaad, one question. We saw Harley as well as Triumph entering the market with much fanfare. I mean, year and a half, 2 years down the line, we see that both of them have a very sort of a minuscule to a modest market share. What do you think TVS needs to do to ensure that Norton is successful? They've already spent 5 years building the kind of motorcycle they need to. What's your personal view on the category and the brand?
I think anyone going up against Royal Enfield is in for a hard time. I don't think it's impossible to do, especially with a powerful brand. With Harley's case, I would say the sales network has been the big challenge. The look of the bike to some extent has been a challenge because the engine is lovely. It sounds good, it's nice to ride, and it's got those characters of Royal Enfields that are nice to ride, not talky, easygoing. With the Triumphs, they have a decent dealer network now. It's over 100 units, and the numbers are better than everybody else. Up there with the Hondas, I would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's nothing compared to 60,000 units. So for me, the Triumphs are a little small, and the liquid cooled, and liquid cooling is not, it's a growing segment. It's not this huge segment that already exists. So again, they're differentiated, quite differentiated to the Royal Enfields. That's why I'm keen to see what the Norton is. I hope it's something in that line. But it will be a challenge for them, in my opinion, because Norton's name, like I said, is not so known. You have to educate a bunch of people about what it is and why they want it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is going to take time. So start with a great product, that is paramount, and then spend the time on making people know about this great product and be willing to invest in this great product. Norton's international story will probably be a little easier for TVS, with the bikes already being revered in Europe and in North America. And with new, more affordable bikes coming in that 650cc category, sure, it'll do well for them. So I just think that trying to take on Royal Enfield is going to be a huge challenge, but finding success with Norton will happen. It's going to take time.
Rishaad, something that I keep thinking and something that I deliberated with a lot of experts out in the market when Triumph and Harley also came in, the retro category, something that Royal Enfield has mastered. It's counterintuitive to where Indian demographic is. In India is getting younger. Uh, is the Indian youngster willing to buy a retro bike? And having seen Royal Enfield remaining in that 9 lakh to 1 million range for almost 5-7 years, that is what, I kept asking, why is it that the TIV is not growing? What is it that the Indian youth of today is looking for? A sporty motorcycle, roadster, ADV, and where does retro fit in? This is something that probably we must have discussed while discussing Royal Enfield as well. Somehow I just feel that Indian youth want something more expressive, on ground, rather than more relaxing and easygoing.
It's a story for business schools to analyze. I often think about it myself.
Yeah, something as a business platform we do try.
Sporty motorcycles. The most popular sporty motorcycle is the Yamaha R15.
Yes.
With its sibling, the MT15, it's 20,000 units a month.
Yeah.
Just the 350 Royal Enfields on a good month are 60 to 70,000 rupees, 70,000 units. So I'm sure that the young people are already very happy to buy in there. All I can see is maybe RE fatigue sets in some years, and okay, it's done now. Let's look what's the next cool thing, and that's where these brands have potential to really catch up. They will all grow. I like the fact that everyone is pulling in more numbers and not just at the expense of Royal Enfield. The whole segment is slowly growing. And easy riding bikes go well in our environment. I would much rather be on a slow, thumpy, talky motorcycle in an Indian city where I am battling with heavy traffic. I am battling where I am constantly on-off clutch.
Yeah.
I want the torque. I want that easy riding. Where I'm battling with heat coming off my bike from a hot liquid-cooled engine. Sometimes they throw off a lot of heat on you. It just works. It's nice. So I get that. I get that people would want to be on a bike like that. And there's a sense of macho and presence.
Road presence.
Yeah, with these bikes, which is important for Norton to get right. I'm sure they know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I don't see this segment really changing favor for sporty motorcycles in a great way. It works. It will get younger, it will get cooler, like we see the Hunter being a derivative of the Classic. And I think the Hunter has good things coming for it.
Yeah.
With this recent update of better suspension, lighter clutch, that bike is going to start doing really well. Maybe someday in the future to be the number one Royal Enfield 350. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that segment, I believe, is solid and here to stay.
Right.
Let's talk a little about this affordable EV. I find it interesting because the iQube already now starts at about 98,000 rupees. So it's the base iQube is reasonably affordable. So what can we look forward to here?
The idea has been that how can you bring in the ICE buyer into an EV fold, and of course the speeds, the motor capacity, and there are a lot of engineering initiatives that they've undertaken that is going to help. The battery prices are falling globally, so that is a big benefit. And the idea essentially is to be that preferred brand. Actually, it's a moment of reckoning. If the scooterization is going to move towards electrification, we've seen what has happened to Activa EV. It has failed miserably.
But I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised.
What the products were, I'm not surprised. So, Honda has potential, but not with those two products.
And this is a right moment, strike the iron when it is hot. If you bring in a Jupiter brand is what I feel will be ideal and actually cater to the mainstream market where Jupiter brand has a very strong resonance at this point in time.
I agree with you. I think it's not yet confirmed whether it will be Jupiter or not Jupiter. And there are good arguments for both sides. The Jupiter brand is phenomenal. Bring in a good electric scooter under the Jupiter brand, but make sure it's a good scooter.
Yeah.
Because if you have issues with that scooter, maybe reliability issues, or if it's just not clicked, or if it doesn't do well for the way it looks, or the specification, or the mix that's being offered to customers, then you drag down the value of Jupiter.
True.
And that's something TVS is going to be very defensive about. So I can understand there being a lot of sleepless nights over this. Whether it should be a
what
Jupiter
should we name it?
I'd like to see a Jupiter EV. I think the Jupiter family should evolve. It's just 101, 110, 125. The new 110 is fabulous. The 125 will be updated to a similar look. They're doing really well. Why not have an EV in there as well?
And right time, we've the only segment that is seeing acceleration is scooters. And Jupiter has established itself as a credible, strong brand. And only brand that has challenged Activa. We've seen scooters from so many of them out in the market, but it's only Jupiter and Access. Even with Access, we see that it is an electric Access, e-Access.
Yeah.
So definitely...
Which hasn't yet gone on sale.
Not
It's been delayed for some reason. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, if we have pedigreed brand there and people are banking on those brands to reach out to their loyal customer base, and probably a Jupiter buyer would want to upgrade into an electric vehicle, and this potentially could be an alternative for him. So I think it makes sense. It's going to be accessible. I mean, the jury is out there, like we said. We don't know whether it is going to be called Jupiter, but affordable for sure. It'll give them the incremental volumes. They are already, like we were discussing, one of the top brands in the electric two-wheeler space. It has helped TVS to rise to number 2 position in a matter of just few years, and this will take the brand to the next level. Interesting is that we have the affordable models coming from literally everyone in the marketplace. So I think more the merrier, more options coming out there, and I expect that it'll definitely bring in incremental volumes. But like you mentioned, they have to get the positioning right and the pricing right.
And there's also the fact that they are calling it the Jupiter CNG. So if you have a Jupiter CNG, you have a Jupiter petrol, why not have a Jupiter EV and just create this holy trifecta of Jupiter, and it's just this widespread product portfolio.
And plus the jury is out there. I mean, we don't know what the penetration is going to be. I mean, several years back when we were discussing about electric vehicle penetration, people felt that by 2030 it is going to be 50%, 70%. We are at 17% when it comes to scooters, and the overall market, we are yet to hit double digits. So clearly there's a long road ahead, and if there's a long road ahead, it's better to have multiple powertrain. And something that TVS has really excelled at. I mean, in the past they've proven that they could do a hybrid. We've seen the proof of concept of CNG. If we see a EV, and of course they also have the E20 and the E800 alternative.
They've got all that experience from South America already.
So clearly I think it makes sense to have a family of model, and then that brand franchise just becomes bigger and bigger in my assessment. So I think I'm quite excited, and one thing is for sure, when a product comes out from TVS, it's going to be a solid product. But the only thing that I'm worried about is how it is going to be positioned and priced.
What's the story on Jupiter CNG? When can we expect to see that go on sale?
Well, when Bajaj launched its CNG bike, it seemed as if TVS is going to be ready, and the product was ready with them in their portfolio, and it was just about switching on. So there was a lot of action and excitement last year, and when we broke the story, we kind of even stuck our neck out, and we said that probably before the end of the year. But then we saw the reception to the Bajaj CNG. It kind of eased. Because the penetration and distribution is still a challenge when it comes to CNG. So the
perception of sitting on a CNG tank also, which is something that people need to get used to.
Absolutely. And that is what even Bajaj is trying to gauge from its customer as to what exactly are their pain areas, how are they utilizing the CNG motorcycle. And similarly, I'm sure TVS is also doing its market research as to what is the right time and where to go. What I understand at this point in time, the start of production at this point in time is scheduled for August of 2025. So say another couple of months, probably by festive season, we'll have the CNG if they stick to the timeline. But as we've discussed, we've had projects from TVS getting delayed, time after time. So remains to be seen. As of now, start of production is August. So hopefully before the end of the year, we may see Jupiter CNG. Rishaad.
Okay. That leaves the 300cc motorcycle. I believe somewhere mid-year is when it's going to come out, maybe up to festive season.
What I understand at this point in time, but not too far, the last update that I got from my friends, it's called N597 internally. The start of production was April, May. So hopefully another quarter, we should be able to see. I think they have 3 important bikes in a matter of just 6 to 8 months. So an exciting year from a TVS perspective.
I'm excited about that bike mainly to see what that engine is. The 310 engine, as much as they improved it, always felt like it could have been better. This is something new. It is a new engine in terms of internal architecture. It's something they've created, and they know the pain points of the 310. So I'm very keen to see what they've pulled off over here. Not so kicked about what the bike looks like. It looks like more of a road touring ADV. TVS has been racing off-road for decades. They have gone to Dakar. They support Harit Noah today, who's the best performer at the Dakar from India by far. Where are the dirt bikes? Okay, it's a rant. I don't want to get too much on it, but I hope that TVS...
You got right, Rishaad. We need to see them.
I'm getting a little riled up, but I hope that we do see something more off-road oriented from this new platform from TVS soon. It's something customers have been really waiting for. The scene is growing in India. X-Pulse, KTM, Himalayan, Yazdi, it's growing. People are liking these kind of bikes because for the large part, our roads are unpredictable and bad, and nothing beats an ADV motorcycle in these conditions. So I really hope to see something there. Rant over on that part.
No, not at all.
But they're doing interesting stuff there as well. They've recently patented what looks like a production version of the Supermoto that they showed off
lovely.
at the Auto Expo, which is also based on a 300cc engine.
Right.
It's probably some time away.
Right.
But it would be a very bold move if they do that because it's an unusual motorcycle.
Right.
Small fuel tank, high seat, promise of being insane fun because it's very light. It'll be some 150 odd kilos.
Right.
And
wow.
I think TVS could pull this off because they've done out of the box stuff like this before. It's got a exhaust that comes right under the seat. Lots of things to deal with in terms of practicality, but they patented it. Maybe that'll come. So lots of excitement to look forward to them from them. We've got affordable EV, NTORQ 150, 300cc this year. Norton's to look forward to at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a packed year from TVS.
Absolutely. Yeah. Probably the most exciting year ever. And company has been spending close to 1,000 crore every year. And that's a lot of money for a two-wheeler company. And like I mentioned earlier, Rishaad, that they hold, for them spending money on products and R&D, there is no issue whatsoever. And plus, if you deliver a record year of revenues, of profits,
more incentive to keep investing.
Absolutely. And so one thing is for sure that TVS is going to keep the excitement buzzing. I just hope that they get their pricing and positioning right. And I think there is a need for them to speeden up their processes. I think the speed and agility is something that hurts the company. On the contrary, if you see Bajaj Auto, they're very nimble. They take dynamic calls on the go. You expect TVS to do that, and so it's a company which is changing. It's a company which is transforming with the fresh blood coming from outside. Gaurav Gupta from MG joined the TVS Motor Company recently. Payman Kargar at the international level, and plus the CTO is German, and there are more outsiders coming in. So there is that fresh lens being through which the company is seeing, and hopefully, the company will be able to take itself to the next level from here on.
Yeah. I would only caution on the speed part that I'm sure they've learned from the X that we should not have ridden it when we did.
Right.
And they're a company that doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Absolutely.
So let's see how they go, but very exciting. It's a company we are really looking forward to seeing what comes from them this year, next year. And I think on that note, it's a good time to end.
Yes, Rishaad, the exciting times for TVS, and do expect a wider product portfolio as we discuss about the brand in the future.
So there you go. That's our podcast on TVS, as many of you have requested. If you have more requests like this, send them our way. We will get them out for you. But that's it for this week's podcast. As always, look out for the Autocar Deep Drive Podcast every week on Saturday at 11 a.m. And if you want to listen to this, we're also on Spotify and Apple Music.